Good morning, good morning, good morning, everybody. Super excited to be here with you again on this fantastic Sunday morning. It is finally fall here in lovely New Hampshire. Here to hang out and talk about real estate. For those of you who don't know, I'm the Lumberjack landlord. Currently 137 units, will be soon 145 when we finish our next project. Excuse me. But we talk about all things real estate and super excited to be here, answer your questions today. Topic of the day today is contractors ripping me off. God bless it. Unbelievable. It's just crazy to me. But what I wanted to do is take you guys through, this stuff happens even to me. And when I say even to me, it's not like, oh, look at me, I'm so special. But I am a little bit different in most cases because I've done, almost 100 rehabs. I've managed crews. We've done it kind of all. And so in this process, we spend, I don't know, $500,000, $750,000 a year with contractors. So we're not a big, huge outfit, but we're also not new construction, because new construction, you can look at it and go, well, to build a house is like 300-400 grand. So you're building two houses. Who cares? No. We touch probably between 15 and 25 units a year. And so that can be, lipstick rehab. That can be the lumberjack package, like we like to call it, which is electrical doors, trim, and floors. And then we kind of have a full gut, a full depth gut. We have that option as well. And so what's interesting is, we always talk about your net worth being based on your network. As so your network is your net worth. When we talk about that, the idea is that as you build out your network, you have wholesalers, and you have real estate agents, and you have bankers, and you have contractors and subcontractors, and maintenance people and cleaners, and you have all of this big, huge network that you put together, because that's why the first 5 years is so hard. It's hard getting deal to deal. It's hard, coming up with a down payment for the next deal. It's hard taking the next, making the next step, if you will, in building that team, because let's face it, you're not throwing a lot of volume at anybody. It's like, hey, I have a cleaning twice a year when you have maybe one building. And so for us, obviously, when you scale, you need to have those things in place. And so almost weekly, our cleaners are being brought in for something. And when I say our cleaners, we don't own the company, but they're one of our subcontractors. And so what we always are is we pay very quickly, is we pay right when we get the invoice. And so when somebody doesn't get paid right away, they have questions, as well they should. And so what ended up happening in this particular scenario was a contractor had worked over the last 6 weeks for us, asked for invoices. We asked and said, hey, let me know, like, that job's done, shoot me something over. And the reason that you do that is because you want to manage the contractor. And depending on how you've negotiated the deal, it could be a number of different ways. That could be a flat rate project. Well, if they're just going to keep on putting in change orders and not getting your sign off on change orders, and then give you a bill for $4,000 more than what you were expecting, right? That's going to create a problem. That's a bad contractor. And then they deserve to have a conversation to figure out what fair and equitable is, because if the customer didn't agree to that change order, then what are we talking about here? That's why good contractors do the change orders. I'm not afraid of paying a change order. Sometimes stuff changes based on something they find. They might rip out a door and go to replace it and realize that the sill's rotten. That sometimes happens. Well, am I expecting them to replace the sill for the same price? No, that's unreasonable. That's unfair. If I were in their shoes, I wouldn't say, sure, let me just do all that extra work for nothing more. Makes sense, right? So the idea is, in having that conversation with them, it's the law standard, and Hyder will jump in here, I'm sure, which is awesome, is there needs to be a meeting of the minds. The meeting of the minds is contract, signature. Contract, signature. Contract here, and a contract, all that is here's what we believe we are doing. And based on here's what we believe we are doing, here's the price associated. Now, the price can be done one of three ways. It can be done flat rate, i.e., or fixed price. So flat rate is, we say it's, let's say $1,200 a day. So, excuse me. So $1,200 a day, that can be the agreed to price. And that might be for, in this particular case, it's 3 people for $1,200 a day based on an 8-hour day. Right. And so we don't pay for lunches. We're not the union. We say it's 8 hours. And so if you're there for 8.5, then you took a half-hour lunch, fine, whatever, good. And so there's challenges when they send over a final bill, or when they send over a bill and it's for 4 different projects for $32,000. Because now guess what I got to do? Now I got to go through and I got to crawl through the minutia. And here's the thing. I'm not on site every day. And when I'm on site, there's no one there. There's no one there because I'm not going during the day. I'm going after work. I'm going after dinner. I'm going and checking these places out afterwards. Or I'm there at really early in the morning, 6:30 in the morning, 6 o'clock in the morning, before my whole household is up. And so that's how I take a look at my job and see what's going and see how it's going. And so getting this bill for $32,000 is completely asinine. And then the contractor sends me this on Saturday at 3 o'clock and then says, let me know when I can come pick up a check. What are you, nuts? Seriously. Are you nuts? He's known all along for the last 2 weeks. We've been texting him, calling him. Hey guys, this isn't done right. This isn't done right. This isn't done right. The next crew behind you, this isn't done right. We're fielding calls from the sheetrock company. We're fielding calls from the painting company. We're fielding calls from the project manager. We're fielding calls from our project manager. We're having all of this craziness around the trim guys not doing their job. Or saying, hey, yeah, it's done. Wasn't done. Wasn't done. And this is where you guys, I know you guys are tired of hearing me saying it, but this is where I had to talk to my guys. Hey guys, people do what's inspected, not expected. When they tell you that they're done, awesome, fantastic news, walk it. What we learned and what was learned in this process was that people do what's inspected, not expected. And so I don't expect my guys to be perfect. Certainly they make mistakes. Certainly there were some oversights on this, but I can promise you, I worked the numbers and they're nowhere near 32 grand. So they're going to be offended. Now, again, at the end of the day, there's plenty of bad contractors out there. There's plenty of good ones. This one clearly needs more management. This one, when we have made the agreement at $1,200 a day, we made the agreement that it was 3 guys, but the owner of the company, the lead carpenter, that he was going to be on site for those days. And when we started texting him saying, hey, your 2 guys are here, where are you? He's like, I'm on another site. I'm on another site. I'm on another site. Well, we also knew that he went 12 days in between being on location there. So he wasn't seeing the work. We didn't hire his crew. We hired him, and they're not doing it to standard. And we've got a bunch of phone calls. We had a bunch of issues. We let him know about all of those issues with phone calls and text messages. And hey, where are you? And hey, when are you showing up? And hey, when's the next time we can expect you? We had made them an offer because we were on a push in September to get this done for October 1. I'd cleared out an apartment for them. I had beds for them there, ready to go. So they had a place to sleep. They had a fridge for food. They had a stove for cooking. They had a microwave for food. And they had a couch there. So couch, beds, and places for food. The idea was they were going to come up for 3 weeks and bang out all of these projects just one day after the next, because they're about an hour and a half commute away. So I said, I can save you that commute every single day and I'll put you up in the place, no charge for the place. And because of that, I'll pay you a bonus for an 8-hour day and a 12-hour day or a 10-hour day. I will pay you a bonus because I got to be done by October 1st. When they submitted the bill, they expected to be paid based on that schedule. Can anybody read the calendar for me? Yeah, 10/29. We're not going to make the 1st of November. Forget about the 1st of October. That ship has sailed. And last time I checked, Michael J. Fox still has the DeLorean. So there's nothing that we can do about that situation. So no matter what, the contractor is going to be felt wronged. He's going to feel like we ripped him off, right? And so we're literally just trying to work with them to come up with what the fair number is based on the fact that they don't get the enhanced rate because they didn't stay here for 3 weeks and they didn't bang up the job before October. So I lost $8,000 in rental income. I lost 2 tenants over it. The other 2, they were in a flexible spot where they said, we still love the place. We still want the place. We can move, sliding scale, all good. But I lost the other 2. Lost the other 2 tenants because I kept on having to delay their move-in. And it was solely on the shoulders of these contractors. 100%. Hey, we're done. Okay, awesome. We'll get the painters in there. Painters get in there and they get to one of the units and they're like, there's a bunch of stuff that's not done here. Now, mistake on our part for not inspecting. It was 100% mistake on our part. But we need to be able to trust our contractors that when they say it's done, and that they did it to a level of quality. In one of the rooms, they actually installed trim that was too small for the gap between the sheetrock and the wood trim. So mud and putty and everything else, guess what? I'm getting back charged. I'm getting back charged from the painting company because they're not mud and tapers, but they're like, hey, in order to finish our job, we got to do a little bit more work that's not ours. Number one, nice of them to do that, right? Nice of them to do that, be willing to do that. Here's the thing. They're going to charge me a fortune for that. And I can't just get somebody over there and finish it up and take care of it. Can't. It's going to slow them down. And then that costs them money because when they look at a job, they price it based on this is how fast I can do this. And when it takes longer time, it can't cost them money. It has to cost me money. That's fair. It's the right thing to do. So this one contractor has caused problems by not showing up, not following through on what they said they were going to do. This contractor has created massive amounts of issues. Massive. So that $32,000 bill, we went through it. And that bill is significantly less. It just is. He charged us the same $1,200 rate for 3 guys. He charged us that same rate for 2 days, for 12 days, 13 days. Guys, do the math. 13 days, even if we're only accrediting the lead foreman for the same rate that the other guys are being quoted for, then that's only $800 a day, not 12. And we would never, ever credit the lead guy at the same rate that we do the others. That's never the case. Ever, ever, ever. So if he's usually 6, they're usually twice the price. If he's usually 6, then the regular guys are 300. And that's $1,200 a day. So we have to have a conversation. All right, so what are you worth an hour? If he says, well, or what are you worth a day? I'm 600 a day. Okay, then your other guys are 300 each. Well, no. Okay, then what are you? Well, then I'm 400. Okay, fine. Here's a contract. We'll hire you. We'll give you a job full time. $400 a day. We'll give you a job. Here you go. For those of you who can't do the math real quick, it's $50 an hour. That's $50 an hour for a finished trim guy. That's a lot of money. Now, when you own the company and he takes on the insurance and he takes on the FICA and he takes on all the other taxes, when he takes on all the other expenses, when he takes on all that, that's why we pay that $50 is they're taking on all of that other responsibility and all the, literally they place the order, we pay for it, but they place the order and we get the material delivered because we don't want them and their small businesses having to carry a $10,000, $12,000, $15,000 material bill. So as we look at this situation, there's definitely things that me and the team could have done better. But the fact of the matter is that if you're billing for 26 days over a 7-week period all at once, you can't expect that you're going to get a check in 2 hours. That's absurd. We pay guys right when they're done. But what they do is they tell us on Wednesday or Thursday, They literally have the conversation. Hey guys, we're going to be done in 2 days or 3 days. Awesome. Send me all the hours up until then. That way I can validate, or send me all of the days up until then. So that's the other thing. We offered more money for longer hour days. Well, he then sent me screenshots about 5:30 every day of when they were sending stuff off. The problem is I knew that they didn't get there. He didn't send me any from the morning. Why? Because I know they don't get there till 9. Do the math. 3, 5, 8, and then a half. That's an 8.5-hour day. Minus lunch, that's 8 hours. So when you're sending me all this stuff, proving your point, we were there till 5:30 every night. Great. You didn't start until 8:30 or 9 every morning. That's not a 10-hour day. Let me help you with the math. Math is a strong suit. So these are the things that you can kind of go through with these contractors. And again, he's not purposely trying to rip me off. I guarantee he has guys telling him, yeah, we were there this much and we got this much done. And yeah, we're all done. We're all set. Painters disagreed. My guys, after they walked it, they disagreed. They were like, yeah, no, it wasn't done. Guys, what are we talking about here? What are we even talking about? So the good news is that we will find a path. The bad news is there's no way both of us don't feel completely ripped off. The fact of the matter is we could have done a little bit better. We should have done a little bit better. The other fact of the matter is they should have done a lot of bit better, because to even get that bill that says 32 grand and have it show 13 days for 2 guys and have it still be the same rate is a bunch of bullshit. That ain't happening. And for him to count the number that I said he could have when he was here on site, giving him an apartment for 3 weeks where he could just come and bang out work. Do you know how many contractors would love that? Would love saving 3 hours a day in the truck? And I was giving them the unit for free. Wasn't even charging them for it, because my goal was to get the job done and to help take it easy on my contractors. So they could literally show up. The place that I had for them was literally 7 minutes from the job site. 7 freaking minutes from the job site. Had showers, kitchen, everything ready for them. So I will certainly let you guys know how this one turns out. I don't want to pay anywhere near that number. In fact, the number that we came up with was actually a lot closer to like 18. It's like 18. It's not 32. That I can effing promise you. Sorry, realized I was on YouTube still. So at the end of the day, I give you guys these stories to share with you. Here's how you fence things in. We just truthfully never have an issue like this with our contractors. And it's because we do these other steps around it. We know, is it hourly? We've even priced out jobs where we say, hey, it's $150 a window for a trim out. We provide the trim. It's $150 a window for the trim out. It's $3 a foot for baseboard. And we do $175 for each door that you have to hang and box, or hang and trim out. So we've done contracts like that. That I actually like, because if they're faster, congratulations to them. But obviously the door has to pass the spec. Every single door that I open can't automatically shut. Not a feature. That's a bug. It needs to be properly installed to know that the door stays when you leave that thing open or shut, and that there aren't gaps in the wrong spots. So this is one of the reasons I encourage people to take my course. I encourage you to take the course because we teach you how to manage all of these things, how to properly get people to price things, how to really get an understanding of how things are priced and what different angles there might be. One of the ways that I get through a house so quickly, when I'm literally walking through it and I'm able to price it all up right up here in my head, is I know the square footage and I know what my cost per square foot for flooring is. I know what the number of windows are. I know what my cost per window is. I know what the cost per trim out of window is. I know about how much linear feet of baseboard I have. I know about how many boxes in the kitchen I'm going to need. I know about how many lights that they're going to be how many lights there are going to be. I know how many panels there are going to be. I know how many circuits we're going to need to run. That is the point that you can get to in your real estate journey, when I can walk through a building and within 10%, I'm going to get the number. Within 10%, I'm going to get the number of that. And most banks, when you're doing construction loans or rehab loans, they want you to have a 10% contingency. The best part is I rarely tap into that contingency until, the great health event happened, because prices on product was skyrocketing. check out Uneducated Economist when he talks about lumber. Guys, if you're not following Uneducated Economist, it's a mistake. He does great topics, really talking about the market, how they're connected to each other. Simon is fantastic. So that's why we do the course. That's why we talk about the things that we talk about. Is I want to make sure I'm giving you guys a leg up when you're negotiating contracts with contractors. Listen, if you aren't the best poker player at the table and you're wondering who the worst one is, you very well might be that person. If you're wondering who the best person in negotiation with a contractor is, and they've done 100 of these and you've done 2, I got bad news. They're going to be ahead of you. So what you have to do is you have to have a great contract that really understands it. And if you don't have that contract, at least something in an email that says, here's the expectation, this, and this. Let me know if I missed anything. So that's one of the things that you guys need to look at. So hopefully that's helpful for you guys. Let's jump in, take some of the questions, and see what you guys have to say. Clint Leclerc, good to see you, my friend. I hope all is well. It's been a while. I hope you're doing great. Corby, good morning, sir. Good morning, sir. I know he'll eventually need to leave for some mission meeting, but I'm glad to have you here. REI Stoners, working but listening. If you guys aren't following these guys on Instagram, they are investors that started watching Zoob and Dion and myself, Millennial Mike, taken some things from all of us, done a fantastic job on their project. But again, one of those things that I'm excited about is they took the course. They learned, a few things that could help them with their remodel, get it done cheaper, get it done faster. And that's where this is at. The devil's in the details. The riches are in the niches. And when you focus on those areas and extract the value out of them, you're going to be a much better investor. You're going to have much better numbers, and you're going to see a much faster path to success. Hyder. Hyder's kids here. All very cool. Currently being taken to Long Beach, and my dad is driving, so I will be doing the typing. Fantastic. Good to have you. How about a name? Give me a name, Hyder's kid. REI Stoners, would you add a garage door opener if you had a garage without one? I probably would. What I would make sure is that the difference between cheap and expensive isn't very much on those things. So I would contact a bunch of local garage door companies and just ask them for one of the belt-driven ones, not chain-driven ones. The belt-driven ones are great. They're quiet. You can't hear it when somebody else gets home. It doesn't rattle in the house. So I would consider it, because that's a feature. And that's one of those things where people are like, they're going to be after like a year where they're just like, I freaking hate having to get out of my car in the rain and pull that thing up, or in the snow. It's well worth doing. It's a good investment. And it's one of those things where if you buy a decent one and it's installed properly, 10, 15 years easy out of that thing, well worth it. And so if you stretch the cost of it over those 15 years, it might be a couple of bucks a month. All right, Stoners. What up, Hyder son? What up? Just so you guys know, I'm his daughter. The fam says hi. I thought it was his daughter. It's so funny. Good to have you. And Hyder's daughter, name or nickname, either one. Harry Hanover, great boot camp, great experience. Hopefully we repeat it at future boot camps. Enjoy your family, Matt. Thanks, Harry. We closed up our boot camp last night. That was the final session. It was great. I'm super excited. We got 15 people coming out of that boot camp that are just going to be absolutely awesome investors, and what I mean by awesome is they're going to invest. They're going to invest well. They're not going to eliminate every possible mistake, but they're going to make a lot fewer mistakes. Hopefully none of the career-ending ones when it comes to real estate. But to the class, I continue to be honored and excited to do that class with people. There's so much value there because it's a great group, program. We don't allow more than 15 people in there at a time purposefully, because we really want to make sure that everyone gets a chance to ask their questions and dialogue with the rest of the group. Laura Samaniego. Good morning, everyone. Remember to hit the like button, please. Thank you, Laura. Always a pleasure. That's right, Hyder's daughter. Thumbs up. BuzzTune. Good morning. D-Storm 2.0. It's hard to find a great contractor to work with. That is the challenge part of buying a fixer-upper to pull off a burr project to get money out in a timely manner. Yeah, I think so. I mean, I think, I've done a lot of those. The biggest issue with burr is the rate at which rates are increasing. I still never loved the strategy. It's a nice strategy. I did it. I've done it, I don't know, 15, 20 times. I still don't love the strategy. The better strategy is construction loan strategy. That's a far better product. That's a far better strategy. It's absolutely better to do. It requires less money out of pocket, at a more reasonable rate, and you have no risk and subject to the rate. From a contractor perspective, on a handful of times, I've had this happen with a contractor. A handful. And I've been doing this for 20 years. It's because we're very honest up front. Most contractors, I believe many contractors, are honest. And so all you need to do is have the system and process in place that measures it in a shorter period of time, i.e. not a month and a half's worth of work all at once, but measures it in a shorter period of time. That way you can stay on the same page. It bothers me that his guys might be waiting for a paycheck. It really legitimately bothers me. But I can't just pay the bill because of that. That's on their boss. It's not on me. If he had properly billed, he'd have gotten checks. He didn't properly bill. And that was the issue, even though a bill was asked for. And so here's a perfect example. My electrician sent me a bill. This was for work that he just did. He did it yesterday and today. Yep, we're good. Okay. 13. Yep. Paid. That's simple. Worked 2 days, got a project done, sent me a invoice for about $1,000. Done. That simple. Paid. Within a minute and a half of sending his invoice. That's how easy this can be. So what I would tell you though is you got to put your contractors in a position where they can bill you, even if it's fractionally, and you can pay them. What I would not recommend is leaving 10% of the money left on the bill. I would never recommend that. Ever. At best, it can be 25%. At best, because no contractor is going to walk away from 25%. And make sure you have, if you're doing this with somebody, that you have a letter of understanding or an email of understanding where these are the gates by which you're picking up money. I don't do some of those with some of our ongoing guys because I spent 150 grand with my plumber this year. He's as honest as the day is long. I've never had an issue with this billing. 2 of my electricians, this one and another electrician, never had an issue with their billing ever. One of them I have had an issue with. And so I make sure that when he's done a weekend, that he bills, that I see the bill, because I stop by and I have other people stopping in and out of the job. So I want to know that he was there because he's getting paid hourly. Ironwood Workman, sup, chat. Hello, Lumberjack. Hello. Great subject. Thank you. So many people get butthurt because of misunderstanding that are not in writing. 100%. 100%. Like with this guy, he knew, I have in text message exactly what the job was. Here's what you're doing. You are trimming out these units and here's what the process is. And then we agreed on what the rate was per day for 3 people. And then he's charging me that rate for 2 people. No. Math is my first language. Frank Contreras, contractors think. Not all contractors, Frank. Some. I would say there's far more bad real estate agents than there are bad contractors. That's a true statement. There's far more bad real estate agents than there are bad contractors. Basilio, hello. Happy Sunday, everybody. Ironwood Workman. Oh man, Matt, I love guys like you. Thank you. I love to live in or next door to the job. Exactly. I always get so much more work in. No distractions. Wake up, eat, sleep, work, sleep, repeat, finish, and get paid. Exactly. This is the kind of stuff that we do for our contractors. We want them. We want them to be successful. I not only was putting them up, I was offering them more money per day purposefully to get the job done. So when they finish the job 5 weeks late and they still expect that pay, that's not what the deal was. You never stayed in you never moved into the apartment. I lost a month's rent on the apartment. I lost 8 G's on the rent of the building because you didn't finish for October 1st. And now I've got still 2 tenants, but I lost the 8 G's. But now I lost 2 tenants. Now I got to go pay to find 2 more tenants. Trust me, you don't want to start the land of back charging. I can back charge you into oblivion because it's costing me a fortune. And we're all in this to make money. We all have to make money. It drives me bonkers. Flavio Macias. Good morning from Washington. Good morning, Flavio. Good to have you. Ironwood Workman. Yeah, good morning, guys. Hey, Key. Good morning, sir. Oops, just rolled past it. There we go. Oscar, good morning. Ironwood Workman. I like hanging doors. I'm good at it. It is a little bit of an art. It absolutely is. Many long-term builders are just not good at it. Very true. Very true. I have a window door guy. These window door guys, they do it quickly and they do a great job. When the lead guy is there, they are awesome. When the lead guy is not there, they are barely average. Barely. Let's see. Key, yeah, Matt. I buy material and ask for will quote from the contractor. Yep. How many days and how many people need to come? Thank you for your knowledge. Absolutely. The thing that you want to define is it flat rate? Here's the amount per day. Is it per unit, price per window, price per door, price per square foot, price per whatever? Or is it hourly? Hourly is tough to manage. Hourly is tough to manage. It is. People lie. They lie on their hours. Lie. They don't think it is. They're like, oh, yeah, just round up 15 minutes. Why? How about we round down 15 minutes? Well, that's not fair. Well, then why do you think it's fair to round up 15 minutes? Honest to God. And here's why. Do you know why? Because they don't pay for anything. They're only getting paid. They never put themselves in your shoes. You're just like, oh, yeah, just the rich guy who owns the building. What? What are we talking about? Who's driving a nicer car, pal? Who's got $5,000 worth of tools in the back of their truck? Who has a truck that was built in the last freaking decade? You want to play that game? That's not the game you want to play with me. It's not. We treat our guys right and we pay them well and we pay them fast. Guys will literally take a job from me because they know if they work the weekend, they're getting paid by the end of the weekend. They know that. That's why they like working for me. And because I have material sitting there waiting for them on site. I shoulder the expense. I shoulder the expense of paying somebody to deliver it, drop it off, and put it in a place where they can get to it, which is in the unit. I don't make them do that. You're there to show up and implement. You are there to show up and install. That's it. No thinking required. Show up and install. You don't need to pick up material. There's no logistics. There's no, I got to make this payment. There's no, I got to go buy this stuff. There's no, I got to get it dropped off. There's none of that stuff. Everything is there waiting for you. You don't have to worry about picking colors or product choices or anything. We did it all for you. All you do is show up and do your job. That's it. It's paradise. And that's why we love having contractors that work for us, and contractors love working for us. My dad really enjoying this live stream. Awesome. Give me a nickname. You're more than your dad's daughter. Now, it's pretty awesome being Hyder's daughter. I won't lie. I would only imagine. But give me a nickname. Give me something. Rich Camino. Great morning, Matt and everyone. Good morning. Great morning. Robert Farinelli. Hello, Matt. Listening to this while servicing my car, trying to make sure this stupid CVT transmission doesn't blow up. Oh, I understand that. Yeah, Richard Gamino. CVT, no es bueno. True story. Had him. KLRB Properties question. Bought a rental for $125K. We're off to a good start. trading for another property. Okay, interesting. And was going to pull equity out of it, then sell it. Will I have to pay tax on that money? You won't have to pay tax on an equity loan that you pull because it's not income, it's only equity. And so you still have the loan that you have to pay off. So that's where the model comes from a lot of the wealthier investors is they will do a house, and instead of selling the house, they will take a loan against the house for the equity that they have in it and then use that. Because that equity, because that is a loan, it's not income, it's a loan. So let me know if that answers your question. D-Storm 2.0 makes sense. I agree. Very cool. Yeah. The birthing, it got a lot of traction. It's really sexy. I get it. Done it a bunch of times, but you got to stay away from stuff that leaves you subjected to rate. You have to. And so, knowing that when we were at 3.5 and 3.75, that we were going to have a serious heavy uptick. You saw me. I called it everywhere. It's going to be at least 6%, if not 7%. We got to 8%. I said, is 8% possible? Sure, 8%'s possible. But I said we would be between 6 and 7. We got to 6 and 7, but we got there really quickly. People that had burrs got crushed. Some of them did okay because of the increased appreciation, but some people are not doing okay. Some people are stuck. Some people, I've seen more properties partly done in the last 6 months that are needing to be sold than I had in the previous 3 or 4 years. That's happening more often. Sam Farho, good morning, all. Good morning, Sam. Wandering Doc, what's up, guys? Wandering Doc, Matt, Ryan, and crew. Good to have you. Good to have you, Wandering Doc. Traveling the world as always. Sam Farho, I want to buy blinds for the entire house. When is the best time to buy them? Discounted and from where? Sam Farho, good question. I like the Home Depot product, but it depends on whether or not they're good. They have a good blinds person there. Lowe's or Home Depot, big box stores are okay, because they almost always need to be cut and trimmed down. You have to make sure that there's somebody good. You have to have a list. And when you go and get that list done, you ask for somebody, you give them the list, and then just say, sounds great. Let me know and I'll come back. Because you could sit there for 2 or 3 hours, or they get busy and they need to do this, that, and the other thing. It happens. So I go in, but I also pick a product. I pick a better blind product. I don't pick the lousy plasticky ones. Our blinds are anywhere from 35 or 40 bucks a window to 60, 65 bucks a window. But the good news is when they get broken, we get to charge the tenant for them because we're putting in brand new blinds. And if you screw them up, you got to pay for it. Way it goes. It's a very easy story. Very simple. This is the best way to do it. Because then your house always looks nice. It always has quality blinds. You're not always fixing broken ones. Our goal is to not fix them. Our goal is to have the tenant take care of them and them still work. So the challenge with that is that, yeah, in a typical unit, 12 to 15 windows. So you're looking at probably a $600 to $700 bill on blinds, but then it's done. They're done nice. And again, you can get them replaced if the tenant breaks them. That's kind of the idea. Josh Coster, what are the essential construction tools that a landlord needs? Well, self-managing. Self-managing, you need an impact driver, you need a screw gun. You need, need is a tough word. I have a crimping tool for pipes because if a pipe bursts, I can fix it as fast as a plumber can. But those are expensive. That's like a couple $1,000 tool if you buy it used. I buy them used because I don't use them every single day. I use them in case of emergency. The big thing is picking a tool product line. Some guys love Makita, some guys love Milwaukee, some guys love DeWalt. And so I'm a Milwaukee guy. Everything I have is Milwaukee. I have a couple of other tools that aren't Milwaukee, but they were, left on job sites and things like that. And, they weren't anything that I went and bought. So, there's tape measure, stud finder, anchors, toilet seals, toilet handle and chain, flapper, light plates, light switches, outlets, some wafer lights. Yeah, there's a list of probably 30 or 40 things that I have readily accessible because those are the things that break and go wrong in the units that we have. Good question, Josh. Stephen C. Love this. Thanks, Stephen C. I appreciate that. Good to have you here. Robert Finley, Richard Gamino. Yeah. Yes, but car was free gift from my dad in 2013. Nice Nissan Versa. Yep. Owes me nothing, but the car costs too much money. I totally get it. But cars cost too much money. Agreed. D-Storm. D-Storm 2.0. Do you need to be an owner occupied to get the construction loan? No, it's the opposite, actually. The reason why I stay away from construction loans is because I thought the interest rate is higher. Nope. Depends on the bank. Depends on the bank. You don't want to go to a normal mortgage broker to get a construction loan. You want to go to a bank that does construction loans. And usually that can be on the commercial side. But on the commercial side, they can still do a residential product if it's 4 units or less. This is where the banking game with investors is pretty weak, guys. It's pretty weak. Seller financing, yeah, it's awesome, but it has its place, but there aren't a lot of sellers doing it. There's some, but not a lot. So the thing about it really is having that conversation, right? Having that conversation with a bunch of banks. This is who I am. This is what I'm an investor as. This is what I'm looking to do. But construction loans, I'll beat you on a burr every time, especially in markets like this. I started a burr a year ago. It's almost done, but I did a construction loan. Well, guess what my rate is? 5.75. Guess what your rate is? 8.25 or 8. You're screwed. That's a lot higher, right? And so that's the value of doing these construction loans and understanding the type of debt products that there are out there that aren't available through a mortgage broker. Mortgage brokers are fantastic when it comes to readily used products off the shelf, 15, 20, 30-year home equity lines, 203Ks, 203K streamlines. Good at those. Yep. A real construction loan, get a real bank. $1 billion to $2 billion in assets, the bank size wise, because you want them to be at least a decent size bank, at least a little bit decent size. And they'll have programs. They'll have the right programs for you, and a rehab loan, construction loan, call it anything you want. Stephen C, debt is not taxed. Exactly. Yep. Exactly right. D-Storm 2.0. Now you have me thinking of trying next time. So D-Storm 2, I'm not sure if you're in my class. D-Storm 2.0. Not sure if you're in my class or my boot camp. This is the type of stuff we talk about all the time. This is what makes the students that take the boot camp so much further ahead of everybody else. If you take the course, you get ahead. Absolutely you will. There's tons of gold in there. In fact, Wealth Building Journey, not here this morning. But I think he's taken the course 4 times. 4 times I think he's taken the course. Doesn't pay for each time. I'm not double dipping. But you pay for access, and he's gone through the course 4 times. I actually can see it in my dashboard. Good for him. It's awesome. He's going to be ahead of the other investors in his area. There's no doubt in my mind. Anna K. Good to see you, Anna K. Another boot camp alumnus. Made it. Good morning. Good to have you. All-nighter. Communicate and document your expectations, then stand on your square to get them. Exactly. And hey, at the end of the day, if you can't have a meeting of the minds in the beginning, it's not going to get better as the project goes along. He knew what the rate was. Period. End of story. He knows the rate was based on 3 guys. Why would you send me an effing invoice for the same amount for 2 guys as it was for 3? You're trying to rip me off. Contractor ripping me off. Hence the title. And I'm not stupid. And I will fight you. Physically or in the courtroom. Either one, take your pick. But I'm not paying that bill. It's not reasonable. And the other thing too is all the other contractors around that he's worked with in the past, they're like, dude, this work's not good. This work's not good. I can't wait to hear what his answer is for that. I'm letting my PM handle it because he was in the trenches. And I said, this is on you to handle. And then we'll come back. We'll see what he comes up with. And then we'll see what that can get done. See what we can get done to make that happen. Robert Fairnelly, Matt, if you accept partially early rent and tenant does not pay when rest of rent is due, does that affect an eviction? I have a Section 8 tenant that likes to pay some rent early. If it's early, that's fine. It just can't end up late. So I think the conversation, it's if you've agreed to something different with them, then that's okay. But yeah, if you've accepted any money towards that month's rent, and it needs to be there, you need to have an arrangement in place. You need to have an understanding of what that looks like, what that's supposed to be. Because otherwise, if you accept any payment towards it, then technically you've received payment, and you're allowing them to send you partial payment. The only thing that you can do is if they are in the process of eviction, or you could send them back a note saying, thank you for the portion of your rent that you're paid. However, I must inform you that until the entire rent is paid, all late fees will still be assessed to your account until the remainder of the month's rent is paid. I've done that before. Frank Contreras, Matt, the boot camps are so worth the cost. We came in about halfway on this last one. We will have access to the first half of the next one. That's exactly how we do it. We've learned so much, even though we are out of state with property managers. Frank, thanks very much for saying. So you guys know the way that we do it is if somebody's like, hey, I really need to get into boot camp now because I have questions now and I have issues now and I'm still doing the course and I want to get in now. We actually will let people pick up on whatever number class, and then the next class, they can jump in and do the rest of those classes. So that was a great value for folks. And I'm glad that we changed that. In the first one, we really wanted to keep it, no one new could come in until the end. Basically, we just pushed everybody off to the second one. This one worked because we want to meet people where they're at. If somebody's having an issue and somebody needs to jump in and somebody needs some answers and they want to get started right away, you know what? That's fine. We'll do that. And we'll get them in the next one. That's how we do it. Sam Farho, what are ways to convince a seller to sell at the price you want the property to be? That's a big one, Sam. That's way too long to answer here. A lot of that stuff is the negotiation stuff that we talk about in our boot camps. We talk a lot about negotiation. We talk a lot about how to offer. We talk a lot about how to present the best offer. We talk a lot about that stuff. I'd cover it, but that's literally like an hour-long walkthrough. So that one's too big for the live stream, man. I'm sorry. Wood Floor Alchemist, how much would you expect to pay to have 1,000 square foot house painted? Interior, exterior. Wood Floor Alchemist, better to conventional loan from a bank, credit union, or mortgage lender? If it's just a conventional, none of that matters. I would say mortgage, because a mortgage lender, because they're going to have access to more banks. If you're trying to start a relationship with a bank so you can, do more stuff and have access to more programs, I would say bank. Credit unions are not notoriously investor friendly. So I wouldn't even bother with a credit union. We have 4 credit unions around us. One of the biggest ones in the world. They suck to work with. Outside of a car loan, they suck. They suck. Their mortgage people are bad. They're not good mortgage people. Their rules, they have different rules than banks do, believe it or not. Some of those rules are changing finally. And so now I'm having conversations this coming week with a couple of credit unions because I stay on top of that stuff. And I'll have news for you next week. Dion, hey, what's up, buddy? Every time you hit the like button, an angel gets some wings. Dion texted me yesterday, and I'm a horrible friend because I haven't texted him back yet. I saw that he texted me, but it's been a little bit of a shit show. We've had some issues. Dividend Dave, I'm here. Can we start now? Yeah, Dave, just started. As far as you know, we just started. Wood Floor Alchemist, how much is the course? It's $1,000 for the course and $495 for the boot camp. Boot camp is 12 weeks long. The boot camp price will absolutely be going up. Has to, must. We used to spend, so even in the first one, I did usually a couple of hours, even though I said it was only going to be an hour, just because I always wanted to make sure I gave people more than what they were expecting. And now we're running 2.5 hours. I got to raise the price of the boot camp. It's long, it's intensive, and it costs a ton of money. On the other side, to have everything edited and then chaptered. So then after you've gone through the boot camp, you can actually access the boot camp and go through the chapters and see the items being talked about. Because we can talk about the same thing 3 weeks in a row as part of it. And then you can just scroll and you can see that. It's worth its weight in gold, quite frankly. Actually, other boot campers, other people that were in the course, tell them whether or not it was worth it. Don't take my word for it. Ask them. Frank Contreras is here. Anna Kay is here. Key is here. Harry was here. Robert Farinelli is here. A bunch of boot campers here. Dividend Dave is here. Didn't I hear you say you can use FHA more than once? You can. You can use FHA more than once, but you can't have it. You can't have more than one at the same time is usually the rule. There can be some carryover. There are some stipulations, but that's a pretty needle through a needle head or what am I trying to say? Yarn through a needle head. So difficult. Words are hard. And so, yeah, but that's why the conventional thing is so big. 5% down, owner occ, 2, 3, and 4 fams. That almost every single multifamily in our markets went under agreement within 10 days of that decision. Yep, almost every single one. It's crazy. Sam Farho, when do you get a loan for mobile homes? Where do you get a loan for mobile homes? They're tough. They have to be of certain age. It used to be a company called Conseco Finance. I don't know if they're still around. Some banks will still do them, but yeah, the rules around them are pretty tough. If it's brand new, you have a shot. If it's older than 30 years, you have almost no shot because they believe life expectancy on those buildings are about 30 years. So you have basically no shot if that happens. BuzzTune. Oh, hey. Oh, hey, KLRB. Thanks very much for that super chat. I appreciate that. Any recommendations on a tax advisor? Yes, one, and he's the best in the business. Main bean counters. Bob Langworthy. He's who I use. I've given him probably 100 referrals. He's the best in the business. He just is. He's an EA, an enrolled agent. Look up and see what that is. It's impressive. Then he has CPAs on his team. Then he has data entry people on his team. And then he has financial analysts on his team. And he's got a big team. He's got a big company. It's a bigger company. It's a bigger, small company, not a small, big company. And so they're doing awesome. I love working with them. That was a major part of my game. Again, just full disclosure, major part of my game was missing for years. I begged my accountant, let's do proactive calls. Let's do proactive. And I was willing to pay for them, like $250 an hour. I was willing to pay for them. Guess what happened? I had 3 of those calls. They were all useless. And then within the next 12 months, I fired that guy. He wasn't adding any value. None. Oh, geez. I'm not sure I'd do that. Okay, why? It just doesn't feel like it might be the right thing to be. Oh, dear God, that's what you've got for me? That's what I just paid $250 for? I want my money back. That was awful. That was awful. That wasn't valuable at all. Tell me why. I'm not quite sure I could tell you why. Well, I'm not quite sure I'm going to have to pay this deal. I mean, come on, man. You got to give me the answer and you got to give me the why so I can understand. So main bean counters, Bob Langworthy, let him know Lumberjack Landlord sent you. And a lot of times you have to get on his calendar. I think it's Amy at the front desk. Fantastic. Awesome people. Awesome people. Really are good. So yeah, he's worth his weight in gold. Saved me millions of dollars. Yep. Saved me millions. So couldn't give you any better of a ringing endorsement than that. BuzzTune, $9.95. Yep, for the course, and $4.95. Course has tons of downloadable documents. The ad section blew my mind. Oh, I have to go through it again. Thanks, BuzzTune. There you have it. I think we have 17 downloadable documents in there, and that is like move in, move out checklists and tenant violation letters and introduction letters and tenant warnings and all sorts of everything that we use is in there. If there's something there that you guys don't think is in there or that you want to see in there, just drop me a note. Say so. If I have something like that, I can let you know. Okay, hold on one second. And had a fridge day yesterday. They're like, I want one here tomorrow. Do my best. It's Sunday. What do you want? Like, don't know what to tell you. We'll do our best. Catching up on 2x speed. Thanks, Wealth Building Journey. I gave you a shout out too. Wood Floor Alchemist interior. So interior, usually it's between $4 and $6 a foot. Depends on what the paint job is. Depends on what the paint job is. It really differs, right? So if I'm just finishing a construction project and they have to fill all the trim, they have to do all the caulking. If they have to do all the caulking, they have to do the filling. It's a much more expensive job, right? And so for new construction, not new construction, but reconstruction, rehab. So where they've did trim, doors, things like that. Yeah, it's going to be usually $4 to $6, $4 to $6 a foot, a square foot. So if you have 1,000 square foot place, I would expect a $4,000 to $6,000 bill. And then it goes up from there, based on, again, all the caulking, all the filling. Like we just had a place done. It took 27 tubes of caulking. It took 50 gallons, 60 gallons of paint. Like that's where, because if you figure, a decent paint is going to be about $50 a gallon, a really good paint. So yeah. Yep. Let's see. So yeah, that's what I would say. Ironwood Workman. My family's been building houses for so long, and so many of them, we buy lumber from the supplier distributor. Yep, aka the guys that supply Home Depot, Lowe's, great deals. Absolutely. Challenging part is getting them, right? So in New Hampshire, we actually buy from some lumber yards directly as well. The challenge is you got to know what you're buying. Kiln dried, is it not kiln dried? Is it fresh? Is it green? All those things. And so that's where a newbie can get into a little bit of trouble, is not knowing exactly what they're buying. But yeah, if you're in a state that has a lot of lumber yards, like northern part of the states. So if you're talking about like Oregon, Montana, Idaho, North Dakota, Iowa. Iowa's mostly fields. They do have some forest. Minnesota, Wisconsin. Yep. And then here, Vermont, New Hampshire, Maine. Yeah. Yep. Here you can do that stuff. So yeah, I agree. They are located in small town, Great Falls, Montana. I know Great Falls, Montana. So I never know how big they are until my logging and trucking days on the Pacific Northwest. Exactly. Yep. They do not sell to the public, but sell to us because we helped them get started back in the day. See, relationship. Network is your net worth. That's the other thing too, is that there are some that are set up to sell to the public, but there are a majority of them that aren't, because what they're looking to do is they're looking to meet orders for the amount of board feet that they're getting orders from and the product that they're getting orders from the big stores. So some of them you can, but often too, the ones that will sell directly to the public are the ones that do like specialty stuff. Like black walnut and, some of the, fire, what's that called? Fire something. That's a pretty cool wood. It looks like it's on fire inside with the red fleck. It's a beautiful wood. Josh Berwick, as a former finished carpenter contractor, you are correct. We used to have a daily logbook of our hours with a description of work completed. Contractors juggle more than one job when they should. That's exactly right. And I understand why they do, but then I can't pay for that. I can't pay because you're bad at managing your job. And that was the issue. He went off and he wasn't on my job site for 12 days. He was on somebody else's job site for 12 days. And then he showed up on the last day conveniently to bill me and collect a check. The problem is that he didn't care about the lack of quality in the other work. He didn't care about the fact that he pushed off some of these other vendors and pissed off my painter and pissed off my floor guys. He didn't care. Well, if you're going to be in our circle of contractors that gets paid well and gets paid right when you're done, you're going to have to be better with your hours, better managing your crew, and not piss off the other contractors, because we have a well-oiled machine. And we brought in this new trim contractor because he, with his crew, was amazing. When he just sent his crew, that was a problem. They sucked. They were worse than average. So that's exactly right, Josh. Same with Sletton Construction Company. My father worked for them when they were small town. That's awesome. That's awesome. Oops. Our workman found out they are very big and worldwide. They build government buildings and bridges. Very cool. Frank Contreras, course is great. I would definitely recommend the boot camp. So much to learn. So much learning is done there. Nothing is off the table, which is great. Frank, I appreciate you saying that. And I agree. I want to make sure that nothing is off the table. You guys can ask any question. Just because that's not what we're covering that week from the course doesn't mean that we don't cover it. That's why the 2 hours, that's why the 2.5 hours, that's why it lasts as long as it does, is because yes, we cover the course, any questions anybody has in the course, but then we jump into something specific that somebody's dealing with or something that I'm managing the problem with, so I can make it a teachable moment. That's kind of the idea. You ever ring at the doorbell? Who the heck is that? Oh, I know who that is. Good stuff. Yes, thank you, Wealth Building Journey, KLRB Properties. Yeah, I mean, bean counters, they're the best. Sam Farho, your comparison between Ari and stocks was worth gold. Last week was worth gold. Thank you. Thank you. Do your plumbers use old school wax rings or something newer? Newer. We actually use the polyurethane green rings. I love those things. Love them. Love them because they're more forgiving. They're just more forgiving. You know that on installation, if you don't pop that thing down perfectly, you can end up with a problem. And it's much easier to clean up. Like when we've, you know, since we've done those green rings, we've had zero issues. None. Zero. Nada. Now, some of them will start wearing out someday, eventually, maybe, right? And when it does, guess what? It's not going to be this big, disgusting, messy mess. And it lowers the skill level that's needed to do a toilet swap. Yep. I literally had a kid do a toilet swap, early 20s. He did a toilet swap. Never seen it done before. Never did it before. I said, Google a YouTube video. I said, record yourself doing it. He did it. Did a great job. Nailed it. Things perfect. And the customer was back, the tenant back up and going. No problem. Nice and good. Just like we like it. Oh man, I just parked and lost feed. KLRB, thank you all. You're very welcome, KLRB. I appreciate the super chat. That was very nice of you. All-nighter hider. Josh, I've used the newer ones a bit and have not had a bad experience yet. Yeah, those newer green ones are awesome. Wealth Building Journey. Listening to the monologue portion, people do what's inspected, not what's expected, and that's trim for that. And that trim contractor is an example of kissing a frog. It's exactly right. The issue is that when he's there, the work is fantastic. So what we will do in the future is I'll say you can't ever send your crew unless you're with them. You have to be with them because the quality isn't there. Or we're going to work, you know, we're going to work to get somebody else because I can't have bad quality. Paying 60% for the job is not worth it to me. I pay the money to get a good job. That's it, because I never want to touch it again. That's the idea. BuzzTune. KLRB's Properties Zuber has a couple interviews with Bob Langry. Yep, it helped me watch those before talking with him. Absolutely worth watching. Yep, absolutely. All-nighter hider. That trim carp sounded unorganized and overwhelmed at the same time. It's exactly right. He was a guy who just launched his company maybe 3 years ago. So I don't think he's done. I think he's always run just a him and 2-guy crew. And now he's trying to expand to meet demand. The problem is he's not a businessman. He's an amazing carpenter, but he's not a businessman. He isn't. He isn't, and he needs to learn that. And he's going to learn that this time because it's going to cost him. And again, I'm not sitting there like, oh boy, I can't wait to rip this guy off. He tried to rip me off. He tried to bill me $1,200 a day for 2 guys. That's a bunch of bullshit. Sorry, language. Sorry, Heider's daughter. That's a bunch of poo-poo. Horrible, awful. $60 an hour for, or $600 a day for an 8-hour day. Do the math real quick. No, $75 an hour. Bull. No way. Nope. I don't even pay my side working electricians that much. Absolutely not. No way. Not in a million years, especially when you're a month late. Triple no way. Never going to happen. Yeah. Josh Koster, if you are new and fixing things yourself, when is it worth it to do it yourself versus hiring and them doing it faster? Good question. It's really, at that point for me in the very beginning, I didn't have the extra $300 to hire a plumber to do something. I had to figure it out. So if it took me all day long Saturday to figure it out, here's what I will tell you is that YouTube University is a billion times better than it was in the mid 2000s. There's tons of good stuff on there, tons of it. But that's one of the things too in the course where you're just like, hey, let's talk about some construction stuff this week. We talk about construction stuff. So, toilets, mixing valves, drains, you name it. We can talk about all that stuff. Yeah. Yep. That's what we do. Wealth building journey, all-nighter hider, agree. But that was the prime example of why everyone here absolutely must take Matt's course. Hey, thanks, wealth building journey. I agree. Guys, this one deal for this amount of trim for $32,000, guys, 32 grand. Think about that. 32,000 bucks. Nope. And here's the thing. He either believes that or he disingenuously put that there because he knows I'm coming for him, because he knows he's going to have chargebacks. Either way, it's not okay. Just be honest. I'd have had far more respect for the guy had he just said, hey, these were 2 guy days, $300 a guy. Again, 8-hour days. So what's $300 a guy for an 8-hour day? That's still pretty good wage. That's still like $37.50 an hour. That's pretty good wage. Can't pay you 50. You're not worth it. No. Nope. Not worth it. Onward Workman. Frank Contreras. First time I watched one of his videos, he asked me if I thought he was the real deal. I said yes, but from what I can tell with one video, but I grew up on this stuff. Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that, Ironwood. Lars Nielsen, just joining while on vacation from Hawaii. Oh, good for you, man. That's awesome. Congratulations. After returning from military deployment to Europe. Dude, all the kudos. I hope you have a great time. Lars Nielsen, Matt course is worth it many times over. Thanks very much, Lars. I really appreciate that. That's very nice of you to say. Frank Contreras, having your attorney and real estate agent give us time was so helpful, so generous of them. Also having Jess join has given us new perspective. Thank them again for us, please. You're very welcome. I'm always honored to when people join the course and give us some of their time. So my one of my real estate attorneys and trust attorneys actually gave us a full hour, answered people's questions, gave contact info for intros. She's only licensed in 3 states, but she can look at somebody and figure out, look at somebody and see if they're a good fit for doing trust, and we'll do it the right way. She talked about her story of being sued, even though she was in an LLC. Wouldn't you guys like to see that? My real estate agent actually, one of the biggest things that we hear about from, investors is that they think they have a great agent. 90% of the time I can prove them wrong. And so what Jay talked about last night, who's my top broker, what he talked about last night was basically how we work deals, the right mentality of an agent, the right mentality of the agent that you want to hire, but even better, he has access to data that we don't have access to because he's one of the top agents in the country for Keller. And so he actually is offered to go, and this was for our boot campers, to go through, look at the area that they're at, get basically a profile of each of the boot campers, and then he will target agents in that area that he thinks are a good fit. and then he will set that up where then they can interview them, but they will be not working on the masses trying to figure it out. They're going to be working on a select 2 or 3 names. And this goes to massive value. We charge nothing more for it. And most importantly is it's your network being your net worth. And the way that you grow that is by having more agents, more contacts that are actually of value. This is a key. It was a great time that we had last night. I'm working like a fish in water. I sure learned a lot about building and getting the job done. But my uncles never showed me how to run things. It's true, right? Yeah. Yep. Their phones ring all day long from sun up to sundown. They have to work with an earpiece in. Absolutely. They gotta. Yep. That's exactly right. It's hard. And that's the thing is the problem is that it's got to get right. It's got to get done. And so I get what those guys are trying to do. They're trying to make money. I get it. We're all on the same page. But if your quality starts suffering, then you're going to start losing money because you're going to lose your reputation. That's the most valuable thing we got. Sam Farr, I want to take Matt's course in the boot camp, and I am either waiting for my Christmas gift or waiting for LL to lower the price for Christmas. It's not going down. It's only going up. I am not Chairman Powell. I'll tell you exactly what's happening. It's only going up. It's only going up. I had a consulting firm tell me that the package should be $7,500. I had one tell me it should be 10 grand. And I'm like, no. They're like, well, why wouldn't you do that? You can do it with a lot fewer students. I said, that's not the point. The point is more people. The point is making more people better at this. The point is not, let's get the most value we can out of our students. It's not the freaking point. The point is more people doing this. The point is more people educated. And the point is having somebody say, I would never spend $7,500 on that. But you know what? $1,500, I can make it work and it will make me a better investor and save me that probably 10 times over in the first 2 years. That's what I want. That's why we did it the way that we did it. That's the way we did it. Each contract has a type of its own benefits and drawbacks. True story, wealth building journey. Oh yeah, the other thing from the monologue, contract types, FFP, firm, fixed price, yep, per job, T&M, time and materials, cost plus, standard markup. Yeah, so I don't like cost plus because I don't want them buying materials. I want to start that relationship with the lumberyard myself. I want to start that relationship with the vendors myself, because then no matter who the installer is, I'm still getting my credit for making my buys and learning that part of the business. And most of those places are willing to work with you. And so that's why I never do cost plus. Never, ever, ever. That's why I don't even mention it, is because I don't want contractors buying material ever. Ever. Robert Farinelli, Josh, if you are house hacking, always DIY when you can. Yep. Even if you screw it up, learning experience is worth it. So true. Also, knowing how a job is done helps inspect a contractor's work. It does that, but it also helps you understand how slow you may have been or how quick you may have been. And then you can do the cost benefit analysis. Do I want to give up an entire weekend for $200? Nope. Do I want to give up an entire weekend for $1,000? Yep. That's kind of how it went. And when you learn to do a lot of that stuff, you can really figure it out on your own. Mandy W, what should I look for in a real estate attorney? I need one to get advice about my tenant who is in jail. I would just look for a landlord tenant attorney, because they're the ones that are going to know those laws. And so I would be looking at who a landlord tenant attorney is. And then they've seen that situation before. Just get one that's fairly prominent in your area that you see it appear a lot at the local jailhouse and end up in the court meeting minutes. That's who I would go for there, Mandy. I'm just so popular. Okay. Which is that? So for those of you who were in the class last night, this is my agent sending me another deal. You don't have enough deal flow because you don't have a good enough agent. I just said that. Don't tell Jay. It's because he gives me plenty of deal flow. Let's see. Wealth building journey. Going through the third time, had to slow down because of significant family life event we recently found out about. I'm sorry to hear that. Think along the lines of Ellie. Yep. Eliana. Yep. Yeah. Emotional gut punch. I totally understand. I'm sorry to hear that. Sorry to hear that, Chester. Wealth building journey. Robert Finelli. Absolutely. Lars. Matt, if we are in the course and are waiting for the boot camp class, we have access to the videos from the attorney when we join the boot camp class. So we do separate boot camps, but I will have her in the next boot camp. So you will have your own turn because I want you guys to get your own time with them. So the attorney time is awesome. It's awesome for the people in the boot camp. It's awesome for them to be able to go back and reference. But when we do a new boot camp, we get you those same guests. That's when we're going to be adding more guests to that. I actually have an underwriter. We're trying to make them available to the wide course, but we start off with the boot camp and then we go wide course. So Kate is one of my attorney's names. She's in the course, in the boot camp. And then she'll be in the second boot camp, and I'm trying to get her to go into the full course. Yeah. Oh, I know that one. Okay. I'll have to call him on that. Thank you for all the help. Got to run. KLRB, appreciate the time. Thanks for hanging out with us. Robert Finelli, like what I'm doing right now, never changed the CVT built before, but I'd rather FYI. Yep, for under $100 versus 400. Someone to do it to learn. Agreed. Being part finished carpenter, my old boss told me my standards must exceed the homeowners. So that's true. And that's where price comes into play, right? Is because I'm not hiring the $35 an hour all in guy. Because I know that you shouldn't be there at that. You're going to tire out at that job doing it for $35 an hour if you're paying all of your other expenses. So we pay our guys fairly. We want to pay them, and we pay them kind of above market, frankly speaking. But what do we expect? We expect that they're going to be on time. We expect that they're going to finish the job quickly. We expect that it's going to be of certain quality, and we expect that no other bitching from other from other trades. And if you do your part, other trades are pretty reasonable, just so long as you did your part and they didn't do their part. And that's why this is going to be a conversation. All-nighter praying for you, WBJ. I agree. BuzzTune, really sorry to hear, Chester. I agree. By the way, friend, we are doing this in most rural state in the US at the time. Yep. Other than Alaska in the 1980s, 16% interest rates. Let me tell you, it was do or die. It's exactly it. Rates are going to go higher. They are going to go higher. And so if your deal, well, cash flows well at your 8% debt right now, then you're good. But that's why 30-year fixed rate debt. It might be 6 years before rates come down to 5 or 6. It might be that long. You don't know. We don't know. I don't know. There's not a crystal ball. And so if it is that, that's why you still buy a deal based on the return that you get today, based on the money, the price of the money that you can get today. That's what works. That's the way it works. Wealth building journey. Pro tip for those going through the course for the first time: download the documents and print them out and follow along as Matt is going through the respective course module. Trust me, it's worth it. Totally agree with that study tip from Chester. He's exactly right. You should print those off. You should mark them up. You should add little things to them. Check with one of your attorneys and say, can I add this? Can I do this? I want to do this a little bit differently, because we built those docs based on how we manage. You might manage a little bit differently from us. Totally fine. There's more than one way to skin the cat properly here, but that's what we want you to do. We do want you to print off those things. We do want you to mark them up. We do want you to make changes. That's going to make that document yours. What I wanted to do was give you a template, which give you a foundation, give you a starting place. Now you fine tune it and make it your own. Thanks guys. Brutally tough news, and I was absolutely unprepared for it. Chester, I'm sorry, my man. I hope all is okay. You are in thoughts and prayers from the crew for sure. All right, fairly. By the way, Matt, you were talking about credit unions ago not liking investors. Thoughts on St. Mary's Bank? I don't really like them. Worked them right now for a conventional after being dumped by Granite State Credit Union. Don't love them. They're a big, huge bank. They're the oldest bank in New Hampshire. They're pretty heavy when you're big. I don't know what they're like when you're small, because when I went to them, I was decent size. And they had so many requirements and so much pay. Literally, I put together about 20% of what they asked for, and it was this much paper. I can't do that every time I need a loan. And they're like, well, this is our process. I understand that's your process. I'm out. I'm going a different direction. Key. So true, Matt. I do my backflash for 40 square feet, 5 hours in and almost finished. learn the time, effort. Now I know in the future how to value the contractor for the backsplash. Exactly. That's exactly right, Key. Exactly right. And yeah, I know. I get that. I've done that project too. You get markedly faster at it as you go along, but watch some of the stuff on YouTube for tips and tricks. And the big thing is the clips and how you use those clips. That's a big part of success for sure. Robert Fairley, Granite State Credit Union doesn't want to give me conventional because too risky, but really wants to push a 7-year arm on me when they hold paper. Yeah, that's absurd. Then I would, in that case, I would use that opportunity to go to a different bank because, and that's the problem with dinky little credit unions. That's the problem, is that they're so allergic to risk, and the way that they assess risk is wrong. Frank Contreras, Matt, after taking the course in boot camp, how long is the info available to us? So when you sign up for the course, you have a year, and then it just goes to monthly subscription. I think it's like $20 or $25. We get a lot more stuff coming in there, but that way, if I come out with something that you want, you don't have to rebuy it. So that way, just a small subscription, and then you have access to everything that's in there, all the docs that we do, all the added interviews that we do. We're doing a lot more stuff for the course where we're going to have guest speakers. I'm just lining them up now. Was kind of waiting for our blessed event with our daughter, and then the transition and selling of my company and all of that stuff. All that stuff's now done. It's all behind us. And so we're setting people up, commercial banker, real estate broker, we will have an accountant in there. 3 guesses, first 2 don't count, and who it's going to be. I'm not saying a name. 3 guesses, first 2 don't count. We are going to have an underwriter in there. No joke. We're going to have an appraiser in there. Yeah, those are all going to be main course stuff. Not special events, not extra money events. Those are all going to be in the course, available to people that we're setting up dates now. Great question, Frank. Awesome. Well, guys, it's just short of 1 o'clock. I heard crying upstairs from at least 2 of my 4 children. I think it stopped. Sometimes that's good. Most of the times it's good. Sometimes it's been bad. But I hope you guys have an absolutely fantastic weekend. To all my boot campers, an honor. It was an honor to spend 12 weeks with you guys, being a part of your journey, watching to see how you guys progressed, how your questions progressed through our boot camp was awesome. It was an honor to be a part of that with you guys. I don't know how long I'll do boot camps, but I'm doing them for now. And so excited to start the next one. It will be January sometime. I haven't got the exact dates yet. I want to take my family on vacation, and I don't want to do a boot camp while I'm on vacation for obvious reasons. Need a couple weeks to get away and really reset. But we will still do a live stream. But yeah, awesome time with you guys, the boot campers. Awesome time with you guys, watching with me here and hanging out with me, this morning. We'll have an update next week because I'm going to pay the contractor. We just have to figure out what the right number is. 32 is where we're starting, and we work back from there. So I hope you guys have an all fantastic day, a great weekend. Enjoy time with your family. Chester, really sorry to hear about your bad family news, and thoughts and prayers, my friend. And we will, we always try and create great content for you here for you. Easy for me to say. But stay tuned to the next one. Appreciate y'all. Take care. Bye now.